This is If It Was a Book, a literary podcast. I'm your host, Ashley. You may know me from the 130 Books in 130 Days TikTok series, RIP TikTok, or maybe not RIP TikTok. Literally, that happened today. So there's so much we can talk about.
I really can't believe we're recording this on the 12 hours after the downfall and 2 hours after the revival.
Yeah, TikTok was gone 14 hours ago, and now we're back. So much has happened. This is If It Was a Book. It's a literary podcast where we discuss real life situations and how we would write them if it was a book. And our qualifications are that I am a librarian and I used to read about a book a day. These days, it's taken me about 2 days per book. If that, probably more. I'm so tired. Anyone who's watching this on YouTube with our faces, I don't want any comments about, are you sick? You look kind of sick. Yeah, my bachelorette party was yesterday. I'm hungover. That's the answer there. Keara, introduce yourself. My lovely guest.
So are my qualifications, which are actually kind of similar to yours.
Yeah.
Which I think is so exciting. So my name is Keara. I am the Boricua bookworm. That backwards. And my qualifications is a now 5-year-old bookstagram, my pride and joy, and my baby. And then as of 2 years ago, I'm not a librarian. However, if people ask me, like on the cruise, people ask me, what do you do? I said I'm a librarian because nobody knows what a library assistant is.
Right.
And they think every person that works in the library is a librarian. So that's how I introduce myself to people that don't know library.
Well, that, and I think that the degree is stupid. And like,
The
I
degree is
get
so
it. I
miscellaneous.
have it. But a library assistant does almost everything a librarian does. They just don't have the degree and don't get paid as much. I don't even get paid that much.
Exactly. I'm a teen services library assistant. And so my teen librarian went on maternity leave last summer. Therefore, I became a teen librarian for 4 months without the pay and without the degree. Like, I've been pushing so hard to become full-time as a teen services coordinator. Like, guys, the degree is so obsolete. Anyways.
And I am a teen services librarian, and the degree is stupid. And I agree with that. But I jumped through the hoops and I had the financial means to do so, which is really the only reason that our jobs are different.
My qualifications that I work for a library in the teen department.
Me too. And then you also, I swear I might be making this up.
Oh my God, please do.
I am almost positive for some different bookish conferences, do you assist authors?
Yes. So it's on my resume now. My first assistant job, I'm actually going to be at Love Y'all Fest next month, hanging out with Angela Montoya. So if you see me reminding her how to promote her book, that's me. That's something that I go out about with my government name. And then, I mean, for the longest time, I worked with Book Talk. So that's something I still throw on my resume. That is something that I'm very proud to have been a part of.
So, Keara, you have a story that you'd like to share. And I love that you wrote it as an Am I the Asshole post.
Okay, context on this story. This did actually happen to me. And those of you who are on my close friend story got a lot more details. My For You page, my algorithm on Instagram, was really kicking me while I was down in the first couple months after this happened. And I made it into an Am I the Asshole because A, I wanted it from his point of view because I wanted the asshole to really shine through. And B, I don't know, it helped me detach a little. Everything in the story is true, did happen at some point. There are some things that are exaggerated to make it seem more.
Okay.
And to also not be like, oh my God, Keara, you really put yourself through this for that long? Yeah.
Yes, I did.
And we're not going to talk about that because I really thought that I was in it for the long haul. I'm just going to read it straight up. So the only background the audience needs is that this actually happened to me. And if you're like my best friend and you found out where he lives, my best friend, apparently I don't show emotion. And so when a couple weeks after, like I had a really bad night, I just like fell apart in my driveway. That night, my best friend went and found out where he lives.
I love that FBI.
So the title of this is, Am I the Asshole for Ghosting My Situationship of 5 years? Saying that out loud is wild. Okay. I, 25 male, have been friends with Kayla, 25 female, since we were in high school, freshman year to be exact. We went to the same university and ended up becoming friends with benefits. We kept this up for a few years and it was fine and fun and no feelings were being had. When we graduated, I ended up moving across the country for work and eventually out of the country, knowing I'd be returning home eventually where she stayed. We kept up the situation while I was gone, and then last year, she admitted she had feelings for me. Asterisks. They went into this with a firm, there's no gonna be no feelings, it's fine. I was gonna be home for a few more months, which turned into almost a year. No, it turned into more, 16 months to be exact. But I told her I also had feelings for her, but didn't want her to wait for me. Reader, she did. We kept at the same thing with her constantly dropping relationship hints, and I just kind of went along with it. Even one night, I was on FaceTime with her while she was talking with her best friends and talking about plans to move to a different state to them. And so I checked to see if I could also move there for my job. I know she was absolutely thrilled about this, and her best friends yapped about it for days. Almost a year after she told me about her feelings, I came home and saw her almost right away. We spent the whole day together, but the conversation of where this was going never came up. I knew I was moving again, so when I left, I let her just fill in all the blanks. It's been 6 months, and I haven't talked to her since. Am I the asshole? Note, a month after I left, she texted me happy birthday, and I left her on Reddit.
Yes, you are the asshole.
Yes, you absolutely are. If I ever posted this on Reddit, he'd get dragged so bad.
Yeah. So I'm just having a recovered memory right now while you're telling this story that I am the asshole in this one. I was dating this guy in college, and then I was looking at different grad schools, and I wanted to get a PhD at this time. Reader, I did not get a PhD. So I was
You got an MLRS.
I got 2 master's degrees instead, 0 PhDs. So I was dating this guy, and I was looking at PhD programs, and then he was like, let me know which school you're going to end up at so that I can like start looking for work there. And I was like, I don't know about that. I don't think you should plan your life around what I'm doing. And then we still dated for like 2 more months. And then I think that was kind of the turning point for me. You know how girls break up with boys in their head before they break up with them in real life? I think that was kind of my turning point where I was like, this isn't going to work. And then he went and did an internship over the summer. And then when he came back for visiting, I just felt like he was not a nice person anymore. And I was like, I don't want to date this person anymore. Like, okay, so he was a vegetarian.
Not a red flag.
No, that's not the problem. Sorry. No, that's just context.
No, the thing is, like, I also, like, as a Puerto Rican, I could never date a vegetarian.
No, that's...
And that sounds really, like, callous. And, like, I'm sure I could, but the fact that there's probably going to be a pig on a spit at my wedding. So, like...
I will say, when the whole...
And Puerto Rican vegetarians exist. We do exist.
When I'm looking at the whole face, that is a lot for me. But...
There was one of my sister's quinceañera.
I know it exists, and I know that it's, like, very culturally normal. I'm just like, oh, he's looking at me. So anyways, he's vegetarian, and I was doing this thing where, like, I was trying to not use single-use plastic for a month, and then I wanted to extend it, and I was like, okay, because if anything's a game, I'll do it. And so I was like, fun little game. I am, like, consciously trying to make an effort to not use single-use plastic, starting for a month and then extending outward. And he just, like, was on his high horse about like that's not really making a difference, and like
those you really want to make me off.
If you really want to make a difference, you should stop eating meat. And I was like, okay, well, actually, we should break up.
So you want to tell that to indigenous cultures that are the most sustainable in the world? Sure.
Yeah. Anyway,
the meat industry, not meat. Anyways,
I broke up with him.
Good for you.
So the asshole in yours, a ghosting situation. So do you want to write your own and then I'll write one, or do you want to write one together?
I think we need to write one together, just because if I'm left to my own devices, it's gonna just not be. I mean, it's not gonna be coherent to begin with, but it's just not. I might spiral a little too hard into doing a little too dangerous things to him. And now that I think about it, I want this to be. I want her to have a redemption story.
Mm-hmm.
I want this to. God, I read too much romance. I want this to be not her catalyst, but Keara, don't get too personal on Maine. I also don't want this to turn into her discovering herself. She knew who she was.
Yeah, she knew who she was. She was just a little confused on what she wanted out of a person and willing to make sacrifices she shouldn't have made for those
because
people.
it's what she thought she wanted.
Right. Okay, so I think in my mind where this would go is that this is sort of like our entry point, is that like this relationship that she's had for such a long time has suddenly ended. And she doesn't really have closure on it. I love that your friend found his address. I think that in a drunken
Oh my God,
haze...
what if the opening line is, I know where he lives?
No, I like that. Okay, so we know where he lives. I think that in a drunken haze, like her friends took her out, they were vibing. I think in a drunken haze, she will show up at his apartment. I think that also in like a very Disney Channel original, like the numbers are confusing. We accidentally knock on the wrong door. This is someone else now. Maybe his neighbor, maybe like a floor up or down, what have you. They live in the same building, but they're not the same person. Or if they're houses, it's the next door neighbor. But if they're in an apartment, you know?
This sparked also something because he doesn't live in the state where she lives in. So she had to travel out of state We're getting a little unhinged.
This is messy.
But I'm thinking of the premise. I'm thinking of the premises. She's stuck in this place where she has like no connections.
Yeah.
Until she stumbles upon this guy's doorstep.
And she just spent all her money on this lift to another state. And she tipped because she's a good person.
She tipped because she believes in tipping culture.
Right. She believes someone should make a living wage, so she tipped, and now she has no money. She's like, okay, well, we got to go through with this. And so she knocks on his door. Someone else answers. She's like, also, like, still very inebriated. I think that she's starting to sober up, but like she's still. Which, I mean, how drunk was she?
Or she flew over there and had the duty freeze.
Oh, yeah, and it hits you twice as hard because you're in the air. Okay, yeah, she could fly. Then we're ride-sharing to the home.
No, my favorite thing in contemporary romance books is when they have to come up with different names for things, like the rideshare apps. Like, they can't use Uber, they can't use Lyft, so they have to use something else. And I'm like, I really love all the names that the authors kept on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't understand why you would name things like that instead of just saying rideshare or like something that's gonna.
Like, to my knowledge, rideshare is not a trademarked word.
Right. Well, and it'll stand the test of time in the way that other things won't. Like, I was thinking about this upon the TikTok ban that so many books say TikTok, and I hate when they do. But on top of that, should TikTok actually have disappeared, we had it for 5 years? No, 7. We had it for 7 years.
A little bit more. It became big when the pandemic
during
hit.
the pandemic.
Yeah.
So it existed for 7 years, and then if this book is to stand the test of time, it has this like little thing that doesn't exist anymore that like was very culturally significant, but like for such a short period of time that it's not like saying you Googled something, you know?
Yeah.
Although you should just say you searched, but it's so. Do you know the WALL-E lore? So
possibly
WALL-E, the Disney. WALL-E. So
I love that movie.
In WALL-E,
Eve.
The thing that happened to Earth and then the corporation that like sent them into space when they wrote WALL-E, or so I've been told, that was supposed to be Walmart, but they didn't name it. And so now we would, of course, assume that it's Amazon as like we sell everything and we're a monopoly and we have all of this money. At the time, it was referring to Walmart. And
that makes so much sense.
Now we can assume that it is Amazon, and in the future we may assume it is something else. But because they didn't name it, it's able to transcend timelines in a way that if you name it, it cannot. So she takes a ride share from the airport.
From the airport. She's very inebriated because she had the duty freeze in there.
Oh, yeah. So I think that so in a very like rom-com-esque situation, she shows up at the airport. I'll take your first ticket to place that she's going. And then, so she, just because we have to keep the drunk level up.
It started with a rage.
Oh, so she turned angry, and now she's just drunk.
Yeah, she walked up to the counter. I want to say that she walked up to the counter that's a very nice older woman who like she was able to like spill the story to. Hold on, have you seen that? I've never seen Sex and the City, but have you seen that very like popular thing where I forgot who it was, but it was posting, I think it was Mr. Big's face.
Oh yeah.
And
then Miranda Bailey from Grey's Anatomy.
Miranda Bailey shows up and is like, you can't do that. And she goes, I caught this man eating this other woman.
Yeah.
And she goes, carry on. That's the same energy I want to bring to the ticket agent that I showed up at the counter for.
Yeah.
To be like, I need your first ticket here because this man told me he loved me. He did it.
Okay, so I think that in the midst of the ghosting, to like bump up this rage. So I think that he needs to have posted something like coupley onto his social media, unnamed social media, so it stands the test of time. So I think he should post something coupley, being like, glad I can finally see her or whatever.
No, I need
like hand holding or whatever.
This is not direct from the aftermath, but this is direct from the aftermath. A first night in our new place, and it's 2 plates.
Ooh, yeah. Okay. So like he's on a little date and it's feeling very serious, which is surprising because for the past 5 years,
it's the antithesis of everything that they were.
Right. Well, and for the past 5 years, he's been in this situationship. Like, was he dating this other person at the same time? Is this a new thing? Like, started ghosting you because they met them kind of situation. So that sparks the rage. Goes to the ticket counter, explains the chaos. And I think that should be a flashback because I think we're opening in front of his house, being like,
Reopening in front of his house.
we're opening in front of his house, being like, I know where he lives, and now I'm here, drunk off my ass. God, I'm gonna have to.
It opens with a text bubble of her friend sending her the address.
Okay.
And she's at the airport. She knew which city he went to.
Mm-hmm.
That was common knowledge. That's how she booked the ticket. And then while she's in this, because it has to be a very short timeline.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We
like,
can't have any time to think through our decisions.
No, because it's she's ranting to her best friend. This is in the flash. She's ranting to her best friend. She goes, you know where he is, close to an airport?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna get to that city. I'm gonna do my research while you're in the air. I'll text you when you land his address.
Okay.
So that's where we opened up.
Okay.
I do like the I know where he lives as like that's such a great cold open.
Yeah, I think that you can still cold open with that sentence. I think that like the little text bubble should be like, when you land, the address is, and that's like chapter 1, when you land, the address is, and then I know where he lives. And then we go from there. So, all right, we're drunk in front of his house. And we're banging on the door. It's the middle of the night, I assume.
But I get up. I know you're in there.
Yeah. But it's the wrong door. So a guy opens the door and he's like, what is happening? Excuse me. What? Even better, which we don't have to make it a single parent situation, but no. I have been reading a lot of single parent situations. So like, she woke the baby, she woke the child. And that, I think, is going to be the reason why no, because then you wouldn't let someone stay in your house if you have a kid with you. I was going to be like, the reason he let her stay was so that she would shut up. But no, that wouldn't work because we can't.
It needs to be like 2 a.m. She's too inebriated to go get a hotel. There's no lift. Like, there's no unnamed ride shares available. Like, and so, like, I think when he opens the door, it doesn't stun her sober, but it definitely, like, she is, like, was on a roll. He needs to have an accent. I'm sorry. I just read.
He can have an accent.
I need him to specifically be Scottish.
Okay. What are you doing here, Lassie?
I know. I just read a book where
I'm so sorry, Scottish
they
people.
hate hate each other. Those that arranged marriage hate each other.
No,
it was definitely marriage of very much a marriage of inconvenience. Anyways, so she calls him a brute, and he calls her a cow and a witch. But because of the way that Scottish people say cow, I was like, you calling her a cow? Anyways,
yeah, he's Scottish. I literally, okay, so I'm not saying that the ghosting guy doesn't suck, but now I'm thinking that perhaps this is the correct apartment and he is not there, because what if
that's his roommate?
Yeah,
Sorry.
So what we saw was the image of like first night in our new place and two plates. We didn't see a girl. It's the roommate. He was having dinner with his roommate, and he still sucks, and we still hate him, but
the only reason they're roommates is not because they get along, or
I think maybe they're like family friends. Okay, college best friends, or like their families are friends, and so when he moved to the new
it's
town,
a coworker he met abroad.
Okay,
that he became really close friends with while they were abroad, and so they both had to come to this new place together. Okay, they have to be like,
well, do we?
Okay, so they're not in the same field, but they met doing the same things. Asshole was like, hey, I'm moving to this place. I know you want a fresh. He also needs a fresh start. And so he's like, screw it, I'll come with you. You do your thing, and I will make a new fresh start wherever we go.
Do we want them to be friends, making the guy, the am I the asshole guy, ultimately redeemable? Or do we want them to have like met on a roommate site online where they like both just needed a place to stay and they're forced together kind of thing?
Yeah, but then that makes it really tricky for like our first dinner at a new place.
Yeah, it's like
that they like each other.
It's too friendly. Yeah, that's fair.
I don't want to make him completely redeemable, but she does deserve an explanation.
Okay.
I don't know what that explanation is going to be, but
yeah, unfortunately, we didn't get an explanation, so this will be pure fiction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not where like she realizes her own worth kind of explanation, but like something where she's not like she's like, oh, I understand where he was coming from. No, because he's not 100%
just like
redeemable.
5 years, something happened.
Like, something had to happen. Like, okay. So they know each other because they're friends.
Yeah. They can be like childhood friends.
Yeah.
Or no, because that doesn't make sense because he's Scottish.
It makes more sense that they just met abroad.
Okay, they met abroad. Sorry.
Doing an unnamed thing for their respective countries.
They could both be doing the like teaching English abroad.
Yes. There you go.
There. So that's what they were doing. They were both English teachers. Some of those kids are going to have really heavy Scottish accents when they speak in English, but you know.
Did you see that TikTok of the girl that learned English from multiple different ethnicities? And so she speaks the accents of all those different ethnicities perfectly.
I did not, but that's fun.
Yeah, it was really fun. and I are not on the same side of TikTok.
No, I'm not on TikTok at all right now. It's just chaos.
Gosh, don't remind me. It's such chaos. Okay, Ashley, we haven't even made it past the first chapter.
But we did do the first chapter. I'm on that part of TikTok where they have this like sheet of stickers and then they pull the stickers off with like tweezers and place it and like make a little room.
But it's like little buildings. It's like little rooms. Yeah. I'm also on that side of TikTok.
I love those. They're so fun. Okay, so we are at the two guys' apartment. So he is not.
We need if they're roommates, we need a reason why roommate answered the phone and asshole didn't.
The door. But yes.
Yeah.
So I think the asshole maybe works night shift now. Because we don't know why he had to move so suddenly. We don't know what's going on there. And we don't need to right now. He's working night shift. So you showed up and you're like,
oh my God, why are there firefighters now? Damn it. Okay.
Then they're hot. So
there's a reason she stayed with him for 5 years.
Yeah. So strong.
She has some standards.
They went from being English teachers to firefighters.
I was thinking reason what if they have the same job?
Yeah.
What would be a reason that one would work nights and one would not? You know what I mean? Okay.
Why do they have the same job now? When you teach English abroad, you don't teach English in the U.S. when you come back.
You're right. As someone who's never taught English abroad.
I mean, you could teach ESL, but it's much harder to... Anyways. Yeah. So he's working night shift. His friend is not. She comes in. She's like, I need to talk to so-and-so. So he assumes that they're friends. He doesn't know about the ghosting.
Oh, he doesn't know their history because asshole has too much of a power to explain himself.
Exactly. So he doesn't know what's happening. He's like, okay, I will let my roommate's friend stay on the couch tonight.
Wait for him to come home.
Right.
Oh, I love a bamboozle.
She's going to wake up in the morning, hungover as hell. I think night shift's still happening. Maybe he's a nurse now or something where it's a really long shift.
Yeah.
So night shift is still happening. She wakes up. I think that guy, like new male lead, is gonna have to like make them breakfast or something. They need to bond before old guy comes back.
He's making her his signature like hangover cure.
Yeah, I love that. They need to like chat and bond a little bit. So they're bonding with that. The signature hangover cure, some sort of Scottish remedy that is disgusting but works. Like eggs.
They're like, what's Scottish? Is it whiskey?
Oh yeah.
Like it says like good whiskey from home.
Mm-hmm.
That like has to, yeah, okay.
Hair of the dog.
Yep.
So she's sober now. She's like, why did I do this? Why am I
here? She's very, I won't say embarrassed, but she's very much like falling over herself. Like, I so sorry.
Yeah.
This was
deeply uncomfortable.
I'm not normally like this. And he's like, shut up, sit down, eat eggs.
I think so. Just for the comedy of it, I think that when she gets there that night, they should also have some sort of conversation because, like, we need to build this relationship before our guy comes back
into the picture.
So I think he needs to be like, of course, he lives with the hottest guy I've ever seen or something. Yes. Like, he needs to say some things where he's like, "Hey,
I need him to answer the door in gray sweatpants."
Okay, he answers the door in gray sweatpants.
That thought leaves her mouth, where she goes, where after she's like stunned silent. She's like, of course it's gray sweatpants.
Yeah, of course it's gray sweatpants. Of course, we need a name for him. Dylan. Okay, of course Dylan lives with... No. That's the old guy's name. No, you don't like that as the old guy's name?
No, that's solid because that's actually one of my ex's last names.
What's our new guy's name? I feel like the Scottish guy.
Really...
It could be Jamie for Outlander, just to keep it easy.
I was thinking Jamie or like Lachlan or something like that.
Lachlan. I like Lachlan. That's fun.
I like Lachlan.
Okay, so of course it's sweatpants. Of course Dylan is living with one of the hottest guys I've ever seen, and he's wearing sweatpants.
And of course he has an accent.
Yeah, well, I think that he has to say something like, "Are you okay, ma'am?" or whatever. And then she's like, "Of course he has an accent." And so just like some chaos, no filter, everything's coming out of her mouth. Yep. And then he's like, "Can I help you?" She's like, "Yes." Where's Dylan?
I'm actually here for a reason.
Yeah, where is Dylan? And maybe even like an aside to herself where she's like, don't get distracted by the sweatpants.
Yeah. She's like, okay. She's like, her name is Kayla. She's like, Kayla, refocus. Come on.
Okay.
Get it back together. Mm-hmm. Be serious. You're here for a reason. And so puts her back on track. He's like, where's Dylan? Mm-hmm. And he's like,
at work.
He's like, can I help you? He goes, she's like, I need to speak to him right now. She's like, he's not home. Would you like to come in and wait for him? Mm-hmm. Cause it has to be like 3 a.m. Like it has to be
disturbing the neighbors. She's too loud. There's stuff going on.
And he's enough of a not asshole to be like, I'm not going to send her away in this state.
Right. Okay. So she comes in. They chat a little bit until she like knocks out. And then in the morning he makes
What if she drunkenly spills all the guts? Where she's like,
we can. And I think that if she does, I think that he shouldn't tell her that he knows. I think that she won't remember that.
Agreed.
And so then
I don't want her to remember her explaining why she's there.
I think it should be a reveal at the end that like he knew from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because I think that he also shouldn't tell Dylan that he knows. So I think when Dylan gets home, Lachlan is just like, hey, your friend's here. Like not like
no context. Like she showed up super late last night and like she was low-key being really loud, so I just kind of let her crash on the couch.
She had a little too much to drink. Like, take care of your friend. And then what do you think? Should Dylan like stay to talk or be like, I have to leave, will you take
I absolutely think he should take the coward's way out like he did the first time.
Yeah, okay, so Dylan sees her, and maybe she's still asleep at this point. So we need
she's eating breakfast. I think he gets home while they're eating breakfast. And so they're eating and chatting about nothing. So they're just the basic, what do you do?
Yeah.
Little like, what are your plans while you're here? And she's also like slowly realizing that she has no plan for why she's there.
Yeah.
Like she's like, I have no place to stay. I have no ways of getting back home at the moment.
My plan was
one-way flight. This is all a very much rage and alcohol induced escapade. Like she's having like an oh shit moment and she's starting to freak out a bit. She's like, what am I doing here? Oh my God, this was not on the plan. And he calms her down. We need some emotional like spark.
Okay.
Of like something that's like, he's like, breathe last.
Okay, yeah. So she's having a panic attack. He walks her through it in a sexy Scottish accent. Okay. So love that.
And then after that, he's like, just keep eating breakfast. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Like just get through the morning. And that's when Dylan comes home, walks in, goes, oh fuck, and walks right back out.
Okay, so you don't even think he's gonna like say anything. He's just gonna dip.
Oh no, I think because at this point, Lachlan already knows.
Yeah, but Dylan doesn't know that Lachlan knows.
I know, but it's gonna give Lachlan an excuse to run after Dylan and be like, "Isn't that your friend?" Like play dumb and be like, "Isn't that your friend?" Because Lachlan's also realizing he doesn't know his friend as well as he thinks he does.
Yes. Okay.
Is that too dramatic?
No, I like that. So what was happening in my brain, which we don't have to do. What was happening in my brain was Dylan walks in, sees her, maybe grabs a bag or something, but he walks back out and then texts Lachlan, hey, I had a family emergency and I have to leave because he's not ready to deal with this. And so then Lachlan is like, what should I do about your friend? And Dylan is like, just like, let her know I had to go. I won't be back for like a week or whatever. Like he should avoid it so hard that like, he's not going to be...
It gives her a reason to also stay longer.
So, like, forced proximity, because she has nowhere to be. So, like, okay, it's
He's
fine.
like, well, now that Dylan's out of the picture, you can stay here.
Yeah.
But not in, like, that weird... Like, when he says that, it's very romantic.
Yeah. So he's like, Dylan's not going to be back for a week or however long. Did you have anything else you were going to do while you were in town? And she can then be like, I really don't know. I had planned to talk to him because I don't even have anywhere to stay. Yeah. Like, sort of walking it through in her mind, but not being like, I don't know. The way that she says it, I think, could indicate that she kind of thought she might have stayed with him.
Yeah.
Which, like, she didn't, but, like, it could be picked up that way.
Well, she was wholeheartedly delusional enough to...
Okay, she was like, we're getting back together.
She was so, like, adrenaline rushed.
Yeah, no plans.
That she was like, we're going to talk. Even if nothing happens, we're going to sit down and we're going to talk, which means like, I'm going to have to be here for like a minute. I can figure all that out later. He'll drive me to where like I need to stay, all these things.
Yeah. And so I think Lachlan's going to be like, you can stay here.
He just texted me as a family emergency. Like,
right. He's not going to be
he'll
back.
Be gone for X amount of days.
Yeah.
Like I hate Insta love, but this can't be like a 1 month thing. It has to be like a week or two.
Yeah. It does have to be kind of short because he can't just disappear forever.
Like, okay. So I hate Insta love if it happens on page, but like if it happens in montage format, I'm fine with it.
Okay. So, all right, so she's staying at the house.
At the house.
Proximity. We're in it.
But if it's only a 2-bedroom apartment.
I wonder, I think that he should stay in Dylan's room.
That's what I was thinking. And she stays in Lachlan's room.
Sort of be like, I think that Dylan should say I have a family emergency and then do what he does best and ghost. So he can't ask him.
Yeah.
Like, hey, can she
Lachlan's
stay in your room?
You can stay with us. I'm not going to make you sleep on the couch. Like, here, since I live here, take my room.
Yeah.
And then
maybe Lachlan will stay on the couch, honestly, just because I think that he's saying that he can't give away Dylan's room without talking to him. And he's not answering the phone because he's a coward.
Exactly. So just stay in my room and it's fine. borrow one of my t-shirts to sleep in. So because they need things to do, I think she came with like the clothes on her back, and she's like realized that, oh shit, I have nothing. And he's like, so it's like a Saturday. He's like, I'm off today. Why don't we go shopping? Or like the day after or something.
If she has the money to go shopping, couldn't she simply have the money to go home?
No.
Okay.
Because that would imply that she has rational thought.
Okay. Just racking up credit card debt. Let's go.
She flew there on her miles.
Okay. Wait, that makes sense for why it's a one-way. She flew there on her miles. Maybe even if she has like a family member who is part of the airline, she could go on standby. And so then the standby flights are all booked up. So there's not another flight with an
Ironically
opening
enough, I
until
have a
X time.
family member who works for an airline. Therefore, fly standby. Remember when I said that this happened in real life? Did not.
I love writing a story about you.
They live in a beach town.
Okay.
It's a very, the airport that she flew into is a very small regional airport.
Right. Not a lot of flights.
Not a lot of flights out. Okay.
Yeah. So the next standby one isn't for a week or whatever.
Yes. We need an end date.
Yeah. Okay.
Because Dylan can't stay away forever. So we need an end date.
Get rid of him.
I mean, at this point, I don't even want the conversation to happen. Okay, a week. A week is their time.
Right.
She's running on coffee and credit card debt and his signature hangover cure. And the adrenaline crash was rough.
Yeah.
He talked her through it and then was like, here, just stay in my room. We'll figure this out. Like she books the standby flight. Like he like sits with her while she like figures that out.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, I can't get out until this day. And he's like, okay, you can stay here. You'll stay in my room. It'll be okay. And so then she's like, I don't have anything. Okay, now we need to go shop.
Now we need to go shopping.
So I think that depending on his job, if we're going to say that he's rich, just because it's a romance book, we can. I don't know why he would have a roommate if he's rich, but whatever, because they're buddies.
I've known people with money that have roommates just for that.
Just for that. I think it's fun whenever, so she buys like a couple of things that she needs, and then he buys everything she looked at, because I just think that's fun. Or like little luxuries of like, well, I wanted to get this blanket because I didn't want you to be cold. And I wanted to make sure that we had this hair product because I don't have it. And like, I know you said you can do just shampoo and conditioner, but I wanted you to have this deep conditioner, or I wanted you to have this stuff that you might need.
Your creature comforts, like that you're like, oh, I can do without that. It's fine. It's just for a week. And then he turns on and is like, yeah. And?
Yeah. You'll be here for a week. You're going to need
You'll be here for a week. You need your stuff. Okay. So get back to the house. They're unpacking.
Mm-hmm. I think she's gonna make him food because she's like, my payment for staying here.
Yeah. And so this is my thank you dinner.
Yes. So they'll have like a cute little cooking together moment.
Or while they're out, they go grocery shopping.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like most adults, I go grocery shopping on the weekend. Mm-hmm. So if it's the weekend, he needs to do his grocery shopping anyways. And she's like, oh, good. I'm going to get things for me to cook you dinner as a thank you for letting me stay here.
Very cute, very cute. I just, based off of every romance book that's ever existed and also every movie that's ever existed, I think that while she's like trying to get things down from this boy apartment, he's going to have to like reach over her and help her get things down. And
but she's not going to ask. He's just going to look.
Right. Like she's struggling.
And she's like, I got this. Like,
she's like about to get on the counter. He's like,
you know that line. That line was like he crowds her.
Yeah, huh? So he's crowding her.
He crowds her, like uses her waist for balance to reach over her, and because she was reaching up, her shirt had ridden up a little, and so he touches his sliver of skin.
Oh my god, the people who aren't watching this on YouTube are not seeing how red we're getting.
Why is this making me kick my feet? I can read the most toe-curling smut in public with a straight face.
I'm like, this tiny amount of fluff, I'm bright red. Okay, so he's crowding her. There's a little bit of skin action.
Because two men live here, everything's on high shelf.
Right, exactly.
For some reason, unbeknownst to the reader and me.
No, I've lived with two men. I lived with my fiance and his brother, and they're both over 6 feet tall. Everything's up high. I can't reach shit in that house.
What's funny is that, so I live with 3 roommates, and I'm the tallest, at a whopping 5'7", 5'6", somewhere around there. And so I am by default the one that has the tallest shelf for everything. And especially in our pantry, I can't reach half the shit on my shelf, so we have a stool.
I have a stool. I have a stool in our kitchen because I can't reach anything.
Yeah. So for some reason, all the spices are on the top rack.
Right.
She's like, I freaking need the salt. And she's trying because they're men. They don't have like table salt shakers. Like it's not what they do. It's the
giant
The giant.
Yeah.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
It's blue. It's got the, yeah.
Yeah. So he reaches up to grab her. I need her. If he's crowding.
She got to
So,
turn
like,
around.
Oh, wait. If he touched her on, as you see, I'm a very visual person. If he touched her, like, on her waist where her shirt ran up by accident, there has to be that spark that they both notice and they kind of jump a little. Okay. We're only on the first night.
Maybe it's a novella.
Maybe it's just a revenge novella. I don't know.
That's okay. So we're having that moment. I think like in any drama or anything, so he touches her and then he's reaching. Oh my God. So he touches her and then he's reaching. And then she's gonna like turn around and be face to chest.
And then she just
and then
slow, like,
down, and I'm like, oh,
dear listener, she did the slow look.
Yeah, so
she's not short. She's not short.
He's just tall.
He's just tall.
Yeah.
And so she's not used to having to do the look.
Yeah. I think so. I think that's fun if we say that Dylan is like only a little bit taller than, what was her name? Keara? Kayla. I think if Dylan's only a little bit taller than Kayla and then Lachlan is like a lot taller.
Yeah, because he's a big Scottish man.
Right, exactly. But then I think that we can get more context for their living situation and that like Lachlan usually does the cooking. So the spices are all up high because that's like his thing. And so that's why he's going to be like, let me help you. Like, I'll cut the vegetables. I'll do all the things that you need. Like,
he's like, you're cooking dinner for me, but I would love to help you.
Yeah. Like I'll do the dishes.
And they fall into like the companionable silence of like him chopping veggies while she's at the stove.
We could do companionable silence, or we could have some like tunes going, and then we can do some like little singing along, a little dancing.
Yes, immediately.
Yes, a little cute
time. Because Dylan would never.
Exactly, Dylan's boring. Dylan is like afraid to be like vulnerable, and so he's like afraid.
Hold on, back it up. Speaking from experience, I always cook with my headphones in. And so what if Kayla's also, she like,
they're not connected,
to get
right?
back, he's like, I have to like shower, you start cooking, blah, blah, blah. So he sees her struggling, but she doesn't know that he sees her.
Oh, she didn't hear him.
She couldn't hear him. And so when she goes and she immediately turns around, and that's when she's like,
I like it.
And he's like, he takes her headphone out. He's like, can I help you with that? And so he's like, so what are you listening to?
Yeah.
And so like every good
oh my God,
romance book nowadays, she's listening to an audiobook. And it's a romance audiobook.
Oh my God.
If we're going to make this a novella, things need to progress fastly.
Right. Faster. So it's like a sexy book.
He puts it in her, he's like, what are you listening to? Puts it in his ear. And it's at that part. So that's why she's already worked up.
Yeah.
Because she's listening to that book. For those listening and those watching and those that are gonna read, this is an open door room.
Oh, good. My second explicit podcast.
We're not gonna go into the same details that you and Nisha did.
Oh my God.
I'm not gonna lie. I was thoroughly entertained by that.
As you should be. It was a great time.
So like because we need this to progress fast. We need they have a deadline. They have a week deadline. So he's like, oh, so is this what you like? I need some innuendos. I need innuendos to make this work. So this is when they get the companionable silence of she's like too embarrassed to like bring it up.
I think that he's gonna keep listening. I think he keeps that earbud in his ear.
So they just mutually listen to the same they mutually listen to the same audiobook.
And like eye contact. A lot of eye contact.
A lot of underlaughed look.
Okay, so I think we'll have to do a lot of like verbal is this okay of it all. Yeah. But I think that if they're both listening to the same thing and it's like maybe the beginning of the scene, perhaps as he's listening, so like in the book they're like he puts his hand on her face or whatever, so then he does that, and so like he starts to act out the book that she's listening to. But we do need like some verbal consent in that. But like I think that can progress you pretty fast as long as everyone is like comfy.
So okay, so he can be like, because to really like, we need their consent to start early. So for him to be like he realizes what she's listening to, and then he's like, you can go back, we can pretend this never happened. And she goes, no, we can keep going.
Okay. Well, okay. So, and then I think to seal the deal in that is that like they're listening to the same scene and he's acting out the guy part. And then there comes a part where I think in this audiobook that they're listening to, there comes a part where she needs to do an action. Yeah. And so he's looking to her to be like, do you want to keep going? And then she does whatever the character does. Yeah. So she's like saying yes. She like pulls in for the kiss or whatever. that's happening in the book so that we know that everybody's on the same page and everybody like wants to do this action.
Okay. And because they're cooking, we need the point. We need the thing that snaps them out of it.
Timer goes off.
Timer goes off. We're ready to put the vegetables that he's been chopping in the oven. Timer goes off, and so they both snap out of it. And the scene also ends because they were listening to an open romance.
So that's finished.
Everything is finished.
Maybe they would be listening to a closed door romance, but like that's like the lead up, and then
there was some like
fade to black.
Really solid foreplay,
right? And then fade to black, and so then that fades to black, and then they're looking at each other.
And the timer goes off, and they're like,
yeah,
they remember where they are and they remember what they're doing. So they have like dinner has to be low key, kind of awkward.
Dinner's gonna be kind of awkward, but like also with some like
there's definitely like
jokes. I think there needs to be
jokes. Like there's gonna be some conversation, or like at the very like if they're like say they have like music on while they're eating, like because I dead silence. Absolutely not.
Uncomfortable.
No, and so like they're sitting at because it's a bachelor pad. There's no dining table, so they're sitting at the kitchen island bar next to each other, and
their legs keep bumping.
Their
arms keep bumping.
They keep bumping because this happens to me in real life. I moved to a family of left-handers, but I'm right-handed. And so he's eating with his left hand while she's eating with her right hand. And so they're right here. And so they keep hitting each other. I get way too like plausible.
No, I actually love it. And as a left-hander who's marrying a right-hander, it's also cute in some situations where you're sitting on the opposite sides so that you can still eat, but then you can like hold hands or whatever.
Hold their hands.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
and so, okay. So they finish up dinner. He's like, you had a long day. Go get ready for bed or whatever. I'll clean up.
Which one of them's left-handed? Which one of them's right-handed? I need to know
he's
this
left-handed, she's
later.
Right-handed.
Okay. Carry on.
Okay. So she goes, she's like, sorry, I'm like,
that's okay. I'm about to write notes over here to be like, he's the one that's left-handed.
So she goes back to his room. Everything smells like him. And so she's in his ensuite because, of course, he has an ensuite. And she's in the shower thinking about dinner.
Of course she is.
And she's getting worked up about it again. She's like, how am I going to survive a week like this? Like, I came here with like this mission. But this is the first
night, right?
This is the first night.
Okay, so I think that like she can do stuff if she wants to. As she comes out, she realizes that there's no clean towels because this is his bathroom. Where he was not expecting other people to be. And so now she must go and get her
a
towel. Yeah. And so either she can like call out about that and there's got to be like a pass through the door, or she can make a break for it and try to get it really fast.
Okay, so I think he put on like music while he's doing dishes. So she thinks he's distracted. He gave her a quick tour of the place earlier, so she knows where things are. And so she's like, okay, he's in the kitchen is off to the side. There's not like a direct line of sight. However, he hears that the shower turns off, so he's gonna go check on her. But in the meantime, she's making a break down the middle of the hallway to grab herself a towel. And so that he gets like a flash of her or something.
Well, I think if he says something like, do you need help or whatever, especially if he's just hearing it and not seeing it, for a comedy, I do think it'd be funny if she slipped and fell. And then he's got to come and help her.
Or so like he hears the door open.
Did you have everything you needed? Like,
yeah, like do you need anything else? And she's like, no, I'm good. Slips. He hears the big thump. Doesn't know why she has the big thump. Comes in. She's sprawled. And then, like most things, everything quickly recovers. The moment does not last too long. He's right by the door where the linen closet is, grabs the towel, gives it to her. And it's like,
maybe like an averting eyes situation.
Yeah.
Of like, I'm not looking.
He starts like getting really flustered. And he's like, I'll be over here if you let me know if you need anything else. So I don't think she leaves her room after the room after. Like, yeah, I think she's mortified. Right. She's like, how am I going to do this for a week? Blah, 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 blah. And then that night, he's weak because this has to be dual POV.
Yeah, I was going to say, he got an eyeful, and we know that in his point of view.
And so that night, he's sleeping on the couch. Like, he's like, she's just a doorway. Okay, we made it through the first night.
We made it through the first night. Only 6 more to go.
I know how I want this to start. I know how I want this to end.
That's how I feel as well. I struggle so much with the middle. So let's skip forward and we'll go to the end. So I think that when Dylan comes back and he's like shocked that she's still there, I think that because we need to know what happened. We need him to tell her what's going on. So I think that they're all going to sit down at the table. And then it's important to me that we make a conscious sentence or two about how he pulls out, not Dylan, the Lachlan pulls out the specific chair so that her elbow won't be bumping him. Because we know each other well now.
Yes.
And we live in
Dylan needs to clock that because he never clocked that in their situation. because he was too much of a coward and he didn't care enough to notice the little things.
Right, exactly. Like, we have to see, like, oh my God, Lachlan's so caring and he notices the little things. So we have that little scene, which is important to me. And then we got to find out why Dylan did what he did. For the original, and I honestly, it can be for both reasons that, like, perhaps he did actually have a family emergency that, like, caused him to leave for the week. But on top of that, he would have stayed longer and, like, packed and stuff if she had not been there. Like, he was coming home from work fully preparing to go to this family
because of
emergency.
family emergency that he found out at work. Like,
yeah, but he's not going to, like, actually talk to anyone or deal with it because he's like, I don't have the capacity for that right now. So I think it's got to be an ongoing family emergency that, like, perhaps even caused him to move. That, like, that's part of the reason that
he moved over here to be closer to his family.
Right.
So that he could be there for emergencies. There you go.
I don't know what emergency they had.
Do we have to know?
Yeah, I guess not. So he moved to be closer to the emergency.
His family.
So I'm going to say that he comes from a single parent household, but he has siblings. And so I think that as the oldest, when his family is ill, like, it kind of falls on him. When, like, the single parent is ill, that falls on him. So I think that I hate to do this. I'm going to redeem him. I'm so sorry.
I had a feeling it was going to happen. Like, I had to.
I mean, he still sucks, but, like, okay.
Yeah.
So I think that his mom, or whoever the single parent is, has an ongoing illness. That could be cancer, that could be something else. But they have an ongoing illness, and it causes these bouts of them being unable to do childcare. And so because of that, he moved to be closer. And his thoughts in this were, you are not ready to be a parent. I now have to be my sibling's parent some of the time. And I knew that you didn't want that, so I didn't want to put that on you. And so I ghosted. And she's going to be like, imagine communicating. Because, like, you're right. And we would have broken up because I am not ready for that. We may even have tried long distance for a little bit, but, like, ultimately it would have fallen apart. But we didn't have to go through the emotional turmoil that we went through.
Like, I didn't have to wonder for 6 months why you left.
Exactly.
Like, I would have understood.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, I don't want him to be redeemed.
I'm so sorry.
It makes the story a lot more plausible when he comes back. Like, because you can't just have that cold open and then not know why.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think that, like, no matter what, they did ultimately realize, like, they weren't going to be long-term. Like, they want different things from life. He wants to be there for his siblings, and maybe he, like, dreams of having a big family or whatever, and that's, like, not her vibe.
And she does not.
Right.
And neither does Lachlan.
Yeah, exactly. Like, she and Lachlan are perfect for each other, and they learned that over this week. Are there any other scenes you want to throw in for yourself?
They do it on the kitchen counter at least once.
Of course. Because, like, I think they're going to be cooking together every night. I think that's every night their thing. Okay, you know what would be kind of funny? What if Dylan gets home while they're fooling around in the kitchen? Because he didn't really give a firm, this is when I'm coming back. Just like, I'll be gone for a bit. So,
and she had, like, a firm week. Like, he gets back.
Yeah.
Like, the day before she leaves.
Yeah. So they're fooling around.
They have to, because
I think
he has to try their cooking ahead of time.
But I think there has to be, like, some sort of comment about, like, I eat here, like, please sanitize and all that, because I think that's funny. So I think that
I love those kind of moments.
Yeah, I think that we go into it being like, this is, like, a casual thing for the 1 week that I'm going to be here. Like, we have this insane chemistry. We kind of have to see it play out.
We have to see where it goes. Yeah.
So I think that then Lachlan should come back to her town after she
100%.
leaves, and he's got to be like, hey,
I wanted more than this.
Right. Like, I think that we should try long distance. I think I can't stop thinking about you. Like, you're so important to me. We want all the same things. Like, we should try this. And if we decide down the line that we need to live in the same city, I'm, like, open to that and stuff.
Yeah. And so that's why the epilogue is a year later. He moves to where she is because he made her a priority.
Yeah. And also he's uprooted his life before. That, like, he doesn't have, like, super strong ties to a place. Where, like,
the only reason he's in that place is because of his best friend.
Right.
Like,
and I think that she is very tied to her family and to her friends, and, like, she has
roots,
a support system there and roots there. But he's already upended his life so many times. Like, he left Scotland, he left abroad. I don't know if we decided where they were abroad. And then he'll leave this abroad. So he doesn't.
And he's already, the thing is, he had to visit her frequently.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to, like, my man was up and wherever she is monthly, if not more.
Lachlan or the other guy?
Lachlan.
Okay. Forgot Dylan's name already.
So Lachlan's been like around her. He's gotten to know her friends. He's gotten to know her circle. He sees why she loves where she is.
Mm-hmm. And he's like,
sees her.
I think I want to live there too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Was that our happy for now?
Yeah, that can be happily for now. I would even say that with it ending, I think that after the epilogue, you get a happily ever after. The happily for now is pre-epilogue.
Yes.
So I think it's wonderful. I think that the middle of a book is for people who are real writers. So we did great.
And we have things that happen in the middle.
Yeah, just like...
They're just things that we can't say on.
Dude, I am going to edit this one like pretty heavily and put a lot of like bleeps and stuff because I do think it affected Nisha's reach a lot, that it had to be viewed by an 18 plus.
Such a good episode.
It was so good. There were just a lot of hoops for episodes that are marked explicit, so I'm just going to try to edit this one like a lot.
And I also tried to be as euphemistic as I could. I think
you did great.
Hey, we wrote a book.
Sort of. It was great.
We heavily outlined the middle of the book and wrote the beginning and end.
That's right. We did do that. So that was great.
That first day has so many details.
The first day is the first half of the book, and then you get like a montage, and then you get the end.
Exactly. Because we wrote a 150-page novella. Like, it didn't need a lot.
That's right. This is just a little novella. I love that.
Hey, we wrote a book, and we redeemed a really interesting thing that happened to me.
Yes. Now we have some closure.
Exactly.
Not real closure.
I got closure, guys.
Okay, did you? Good. I'm so glad you got closure. Ghosting's the worst. Don't ghost people.
I didn't, but I got theoretical closure.
You got theoretical closure.
You know, they say time heals all wounds, right?
And how much time has it been?
7 months.
Okay. What was your favorite book in the last 7 months?
My favorite book in the last 7 months, I did read Air by Sabbath Tahir, which...
that was really good.
Phenomenal. But if we're going with romance, I'm going to go with A Pact for Winter, which is an Omegaverse.
Okay.
And that's all I'm going to say about that to make this as non-explicit as possible. But it was actually incredibly cozy.
I would post it.
It was incredibly cozy, and it was so... It made me so warm. Like, it's on my, like, hey, subtle plug, I have a blog. And on that blog, I have a list of non-white BIPOC holiday romances. Yeah. Including novellas and full-length books. And A Pact for Winter is a full-length book. And it's holiday featuring non-white leads written by a non-white author. It's by Eliana Lee. If you want to look it up, she has more Omegaverse as well. I think her pronouns are she, her. I'm just gonna... But yeah. So that, it's because it's the first one that caught my eye. I was like, oh, I love that. And I know I really love the book if I can vividly imagine things that happen in the book. After the fact.
And how can listeners access your blog?
I am still on TikTok. Okay, so I'm the Boniqua Bookworm everywhere. I'm on Threads, Blue Sky, Instagram, and for the time being, TikTok. My blog for the next 3 years while I own this domain is theboniquabookworm.com. And it has all 3 posts.
Nice.
Wait! He and Run by Adriana Herrera. Also an Omegaverse. Also one of the best books in the last 7 months I've read.
Very nice. Very nice.
It's 2025. Ashley, what's a book you're looking forward to in 2025?
A book that I'm looking forward to in 2025. The new Gabriela Gama's book is coming out.
Did you see that she got her physical art?
I know.
And they're so pretty. They're absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, Kiss Me Maybe is coming out, and I'm very excited to read that one. So thanks for writing a book with us. This was If It Was a Book, a literary podcast. I'm your host, Ashley. You can find me as Wicked Reads on everything except for Blue Sky and Twitter because someone else already had that. That's okay. I don't like Blue Sky or Twitter. They scare me. They seem hard. So I don't use those, but I am on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok for now. And anything else that pops up. Oh, I'm on Red Note, newly on Red Note. I'm on Lemon8. I'm on all kinds of websites.
Well, apparently Lemonade's not back yet, though. I just need CapCut. I need CapCut.
So sad.
Anyway, this was a grand old time.
Thanks. Tell your friends.
Like, I was like, man, I don't know how I'm going to do this because I'm not creative like that. But
no,
honestly,
you were super creative.
All we need to do is write the beginning and the end, and then we're fine.